Welcome everyone. Today we are going to review for our Quarter 1 Summative Test in English 9. Our topic is analyzing the structural context of an Anglo-American drama, focusing on major and minor characters, characterization, and plot elements, using the play A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Let's begin. Cognitive level understanding. Question 1. In the vocabulary activity and the poem Harlem, what does the word deferred mean? Here are your choices. A. Postponed or delayed. B. Forgotten completely. C. Achieved successfully. D. Openly rejected. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level understanding. The correct answer to question 1 is A. Postponed or delayed. The lesson's vocabulary matching activity defines deferred as postponed or delayed, which is exactly what happens to the dream in Langston Hughes's poem. Option C is wrong because a deferred dream is delayed, not achieved. The whole poem is about a dream that has not yet happened. Cognitive level understanding. Question 2. Based on the lesson, what is characterization? Here are your choices. A. The act of creating and describing characters, including their physical traits and personality. B. The setting where the events of a story take place. C. The struggle between two opposing forces in a plot. D. The order in which events happen in a narrative. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level understanding. The correct answer to question 2 is A. The act of creating and describing characters, including their physical traits and personality. The lesson defines characterization as the act of creating and describing characters in literature, covering both physical attributes and personality. Option D is wrong because that describes plot sequence, not characterization. Cognitive level understanding. Question 3. According to the lesson, how is a parallel plot different from an episodic plot? Here are your choices. A. A parallel plot weaves two or more storylines linked by a common character or theme that merge in the end, while an episodic plot links loosely related incidents by a shared character, place, or theme. B. A parallel plot has only one main character, while an episodic plot always has multiple protagonists. C. A parallel plot is used only in short stories, while an episodic plot is used only in dramas. D. A parallel plot has no climax, while an episodic plot has several climaxes but no resolution. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level understanding. The correct answer to question 3 is A. A parallel plot weaves two or more storylines linked by a common character or theme that merge in the end, while an episodic plot links loosely related incidents by a shared character, place, or theme. The lesson explains a parallel plot as two or more dramatic plots linked by a common character/theme that eventually merge, while an episodic plot is a series of loosely related incidents tied together by a shared character, place, or theme. Option D is wrong because episodic plots, as shown in the lesson's diagram, DO have a climax within each chapter. Climax 1, Climax 2, Climax 3. Cognitive level applying. Question 4. Mrs. Johnson appears briefly to comment on the younger family's plans, but she does not drive the main conflict or undergo any change. Based on the lesson's definitions, how should she be classified? Here are your choices. A. Minor character, because she plays a part in the story but is not central to its main conflicts. B. Major character, because she talks with Mama. C. Protagonist, because she supports the family's aspirations. D. Antagonist, because she disagrees with the family's decisions. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level applying. The correct answer to question 4 is A. Minor character, because she plays a part in the story but is not central to its main conflicts. The lesson defines minor characters as those who are not as important as major characters, but still help move the story forward, which fits Mrs. Johnson's role. Option B is wrong, because simply talking to another character does not make someone central to the story's main conflicts and themes, which is the lesson's standard for a major character. Cognitive level applying. Question 5. Which sentence below is an example of direct characterization following the pattern of the lesson's examples, such as, Bill was short and fat? Here are your choices. A. Walter was a proud and restless man, often frustrated by his lack of opportunity. B. Walter's shoulders sagged as he stared at the empty check, unable to speak. C. Walter tapped his fingers on the table and looked away when Mama spoke. D. Walter left the room without answering, slamming the door behind him. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level applying. The correct answer to question 5 is A. Walter was a proud and restless man, often frustrated by his lack of opportunity. This line states Walter's traits: proud, restless, frustrated, outright, matching the lesson's model of direct characterization, where the narrator tells the audience what a character is like. Option D is wrong because it only shows an action, requiring the reader to infer Walter's feelings. That is indirect, not direct, characterization. Cognitive level applying. Question 6. In Act 1, the younger family is introduced in their cramped apartment, and Mama's plan to use the insurance money is revealed as the source of tension. Which plot element does this represent? Here are your choices. A. Exposition. B. Climax. C. Falling action. D. Resolution. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Applying. The correct answer to question 6 is A. Exposition. The lesson's graphic organizer identifies the exposition as the part that introduces the main characters, the setting, and the primary conflict. Exactly what happens here. Option B is wrong, because the climax is the turning point of the story, not the opening introduction of characters and setting. Cognitive level. Analyzing. Question 7. Carl Lindner tries to convince the youngers not to move into the white neighborhood. Analyzing his role using the lesson's concept of antagonist, why is he considered an antagonist even though he is not a traditional villain? Here are your choices. A. As a representative of the neighborhood association, he creates external conflict that opposes the protagonist's goal. B. He is beneath a suitor and creates romantic conflict. C. He is Walter's business partner who loses the family's investment money. D. He is a member of the younger family who disagrees with Mama. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Analyzing. The correct answer to question 7 is A. As a representative of the neighborhood association, he creates external conflict that opposes the protagonist's goal. The lesson explains that an antagonist can be a group, or its representative, that causes external conflict for the protagonist, which matches Lindner's role in opposing the family's move. Option C is wrong, because that description fits Bobo, Walter's business partner, not Carl Lindner. Cognitive level. Analyzing. Question 8. In the excerpt describing Ruth as a woman whose face already shows disappointment, rather than the narrator simply stating she is unhappy, why is this classified as indirect characterization? Here are your choices. A. The audience must infer Ruth's emotional state from her appearance, rather than being told directly. B. Ruth speaks directly about her feelings in this line. C. The narrator explicitly states that Ruth is an unhappy person. D. This passage focuses only on setting, not on character at all. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Analyzing. The correct answer to question 8 is A. The audience must infer Ruth's emotional state from her appearance, rather than being told directly. The lesson defines indirect characterization as showing the audience what a character is like through appearance, thoughts, words, or deeds, requiring the reader to make inferences, which is what happens with Ruth's description. Option C is wrong because the narrator never states Ruth's feelings outright. The reader must infer them from her described appearance. Cognitive level. Analyzing. Question 9. The lesson explains that Percy Jackson and the Olympians combines episodic and parallel plot structures. What evidence from the lesson supports this claim? Here are your choices. A. Each book is a self-contained episode of adventures, while parallel plot lines involving other demigods intersect with the main plot. B. The series has only one character and one continuous plot with no separate storylines. C. Each book ends without any climax, unlike a typical episodic plot. D. The series abandons its central theme after the first book. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Analyzing. The correct answer to question 9 is A. Each book is a self-contained episode of adventures, while parallel plot lines involving other demigods intersect with the main plot. The lesson states that each book is an episode of Percy's adventures, while the series also features parallel plot lines of other demigods that intersect with the overarching plot. Option C is wrong because the lesson's own diagram of episodic plot shows each chapter having its own climax. Cognitive level. Evaluating. Question 10. A teacher wants students to form a deeper, lasting impression of Mama's values without the text stating them outright. Based on the lesson's discussion of characterization methods, which approach best achieves this goal? Here are your choices. A. Indirect characterization, since it requires readers to infer character through actions and words, leaving a deeper impression. B. Direct characterization, since it states traits explicitly and is quicker to write. C. Setting description, since it mainly establishes the mood of the play. D. Dialogue tags alone, since they only identify who is speaking. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Evaluating. The correct answer to question 10 is A. Indirect characterization, since it requires readers to infer character through actions and words, leaving a deeper impression. The lesson explicitly states that indirect characterization takes more time to develop, but often leaves a deeper impression on the reader than direct statements. Option B is wrong, because although direct characterization is faster, the lesson notes it does not leave as deep an impression as indirect characterization. Cognitive level. Evaluating. Question 11. Which statement best evaluates why Walter's decision about Mr. Lindner's offer is considered the play's climax, rather than simply part of the rising action? Here are your choices. A. It marks the turning point where Walter must choose between money and family dignity, determining the story's direction going forward. B. It is just another instance of conflict with no lasting effect on the plot. C. It occurs at the very beginning of the play, before other conflicts arise. D. It has no connection to the tensions established earlier in the exposition. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Evaluating. The correct answer to question 11 is A. It marks the turning point where Walter must choose between money and family dignity, determining the story's direction going forward. The lesson's graphic organizer identifies Walter's decision regarding Lindner's offer as the event marking the turning point of the play, which is the definition of a climax. Option C is wrong because the climax happens after the rising action, not at the very beginning of the play. Cognitive level. Evaluating. Question 12. Considering the play's resolution, which interpretation of its message about pursuing dreams is best supported by the lesson materials? Here are your choices. A. Dreams can be preserved and pursued despite hardship, as shown by the family moving forward with its plans for a better future. B. Dreams should be abandoned once economic difficulties arise. C. Only one family member's dream matters in the end. D. The play suggests that family conflicts can never be resolved. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Evaluating. The correct answer to question 12 is A. Dreams can be preserved and pursued despite hardship, as shown by the family moving forward with its plans for a better future. The lesson frames the American dream as a source of motivation despite struggle, and the resolution guide question asks what message the play leaves about pursuing dreams and overcoming obstacles, pointing to perseverance, not surrender. Option D is wrong, because the graphic organizer's resolution stage specifically asks for the family's final outcome, implying the conflict does reach a resolution. Cognitive level. Creating question 13. A student must write a new line demonstrating indirect characterization for Benitha, showing her passion for her African heritage without stating it directly. Which option best accomplishes this task? Here are your choices. A. Benitha ran her fingers over the folded African cloth, humming softly as she practiced the Yoruba words Asagai had taught her. B. Benitha was passionate about African culture and proud of her heritage. C. The stage directions state that Benitha loves Nigeria. D. Benitha explained to Mama that she loved her African heritage. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Creating. The correct answer to question 13 is A. Benitha ran her fingers over the folded African cloth, humming softly as she practiced the Yoruba words Asagai had taught her. This line shows Benitha's passion through her actions and behavior, requiring the reader to infer her feelings, matching the lesson's model of indirect characterization. Option D is wrong because having Benitha state her love outright is direct characterization, which is not what the task requires. Cognitive level. Creating question 14. A student is designing an original short drama using an episodic plot structure, as described in the lesson. Which outline correctly applies this structure? Here are your choices. A. 3 self-contained chapters, each with its own rising action and climax, connected by the same central character and recurring theme. B. 2 separate storylines about different characters that merge together only in the final scene. C. A single continuous storyline with only one rising action and one climax. D. A series of chapters with no shared character, setting, or theme connecting them. Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Creating. The correct answer to question 14 is A. 3 self-contained chapters, each with its own rising action and climax, connected by the same central character and recurring theme. This matches the lesson's diagram of an episodic plot. Separate chapters, each with its own climax and ending, tied together by the same character, place, or theme. Option B is wrong because merging separate storylines linked by a common character describes a parallel plot, not an episodic one. Cognitive level. Creating question 15. A teacher is creating a new guide question for the rising action section of the graphic organizer used in the lesson. Which question best fits this plot element based on the lesson's original guide questions? Here are your choices. A. How does Walter Lee's dream for a better future create conflict within the family? B. What is the final outcome for the younger family? C. Who are the main characters introduced at the beginning of the play? D. How do the characters respond to Walter's decision about Lindner's offer? Take a moment to choose your answer. Cognitive level. Creating. The correct answer to question 15 is A. How does Walter Lee's dream for a better future create conflict within the family? This is one of the lesson's own guide questions listed under rising action, focusing on how Walter's dream creates growing family conflict. Option C is wrong because introducing the main characters is a guide question for the exposition stage, not rising action. This slide summarizes the correct answers for all 15 items, along with the cognitive level each item measured. Use this as a quick answer key when checking your work.